Hello everyone, welcome back to Hills and Hollers Homesteading and Prepping. It's Homesteader Mike, and there's a little break in the clouds. There's a little sunshine today, and I am so tired of overcast skies. I need some sunshine. I need some vitamin D. I don't know about you guys. And that it's all soggy out here. Every daggone thing just completely soaking wet. Anyways, spring in West Virginia. Couple topics to cover today. I'm going to throw my problem solving cap on here, and I'm going to discuss something. First, I want to tell you guys, if you've not been paying attention to local and recent events, you need to. You need to look that you've got Biden saying there's going to be a food shortage. You've got the European Union preparing for food shortages. You got China preparing for food shortages. Everybody's preparing for food shortages. So this is not instilling fear. We're not trying to stir fear here, but it's time to really start doing something for yourselves. And I'm going to tell you, if you can't or don't have time or whatever you think that you are unable to do at this point, you need to look again. Our global supply chain, our centralized food system is going to crap, and it's going to get busted real soon. And a uh, that's not a tinfoil hat. It's not a conspiracy theory. Here recently, conspiracy theories are the difference between a conspiracy theory and truth is about 7 days, if it's taken that long anymore. Anyways, let's focus on what we're going to discuss. So I want you to try and do everything you can to grow at home. If you're not currently doing it, or you haven't been doing it, I want you to think about growing some food at home, planting a garden, doing a raised bed, doing container gardening. And there was something I always forget to bring this up in these videos when I talk about this. So back there used to be a thing. It was called I think it was a Topsy Turvy was what the brand name was, and it was the upside down hanging tomato grower. This thing, we had these when we lived down on the front part of the property in a mobile home before we built a house up here. We had like 3 or 4 of those across our porch, and they kept us in tomatoes great. I mean, they worked out fine. They really did good. And you can grow just about anything in them. You can grow tomatoes, you can grow peppers. Anything that'll grow straight up out of the ground will typically grow right out of the bottom of that. Um, I would venture to say you could probably grow corn out of them things if you got the space. And that's not too far of a stretch to even think that. But and you're just simply turning everything upside down, so it's still got soil. You're still watering it and everything like that. But they worked great, and that is something that's really good for limited and restricted space. So even if you live in an apartment, have a little balcony, a little porch, or something like that, that's still something that you can use. So I don't know if that particular brand is still available, Topsy Turvy. If you can't find that, just look under like upside down tomato grower or something like that. And that is a great thing to use for limited and restricted space for growing vegetables. But I'm going to encourage you, if you have people in your neighborhood, if you don't have the yard, and there's some older folks in your community or in your neighborhood who used to grow a garden and they don't anymore. If you've got a good relationship or rapport with them, approach them, ask them if they would be willing to let you use that space to garden, and you will split or share, what you grow with them. A lot of folks who used to do that did that because they enjoyed it and it was something they grew up doing. It was part of their lifestyle. And to have someone, if you've got a good relationship with them, to have someone want to do that for them on just on their property, I don't see where they would have much trouble with it. Some people will. I'm not saying everybody's going to be like, oh, yes, thank you. Please come and do whatever you want to on my property. There's probably going to be a couple little agreements and stipulations that you're going to have to abide by, which is fine, which is understandable. It is their property. But do that. Even if they don't want you tilling up their land, ask them if you can do little raised beds that you could bring over there, set down, grow, and move. I mean, you're going to be some soil and stuff, but Anyways, that's just an idea. You work out the details. So if you don't have the land available, if you have neighbors who do, talk to them. Share the proceeds with them. The bounty. Share the harvest. And I don't see where they. I won't say that again. I keep going back to that, but because I know how people are. But still, it's worth an offer. It's worth an effort. You know what I mean? So help secure that food security in your area. Next, I'm going to tell you. I would love to see farmers markets this year overwhelmed. I would love to see people standing in lines. I'd like to see vendors who are local vendors selling there going, at 10 o'clock, I'm sold out. I don't have anything more. I'm going to have to bring more next weekend. I want to see that take away, and I'll never tell you to take food away from anybody, but I'm going to tell you, take away from big corporate, big business. We need to get away from the big box stores. We need to get away from this crap that's grown in foreign soils, in non-native soils. God knows what's put in them. You know, and this year-round global supply is just, we've got to go. If we can keep our food local, we improve the security, we improve the safety, and we improve the quality of those products. By purchasing locally, you're also helping improve your local economy and helping your local neighbors and growers and stuff so they can expand more. Now, just some ideas. There's the seed. Take care of it. Get it planted, nurture it, feed it, grow it, turn it into something, okay? Just some ideas. Another thing I want to touch on, maybe I'll use this as my run for governor one of these days. So the state of West Virginia, and all of its infamous intelligence, decided they're going to take the largest former mine site in the state of West Virginia and turn it into a solar farm. So it's going to become this huge solar panel farm. But yet we have abundance of natural gas. We have abundance of coal. And while I'm not a 100% unmovable proponent of fossil fuels, until our renewable sources and resources become more reliable, more efficient, we can't just walk away from our fossil fuels. So what I want to just kind of look at is, okay, so let's look at the state of West Virginia. We're just shy of 1.8 million people. We've got a good, strong fossil fuel industry that does take from the people. Yes, it does. In West Virginia, loses big with it, but they want to build a solar farm. But yet we've got a 17% child poverty rate in the state of West Virginia, and we have a 33% child poverty rate under the age of 5. We've got regional jails that are packed over capacity. We have prisons, state prisons that are packed, that people are being held over at regional jail facilities. Gunfire in a hollow, it's nothing new. So here's my idea. Instead of building a solar farm, why don't you turn that mine site? You've got West Virginia University, and you've got all of its little subsidiary schools, okay? All its little pilot or finger schools out here, okay? You've got huge agriculture programs in the state. You have an entire school of agriculture. You have state-run farms all over the state. Turn this place into a huge regenerative agriculture farm. High tunnels, greenhouses, whatever, okay? Even animals if you want to do that. Turn it in a big dairy, okay? Do this. Here's how you save money. You take these prisoners, the ones that are the nonviolent offenders, that are good behavior guys that they can make like trustees and stuff like that, get their butts up there. Get them working, okay? So then you turn around and you take the college students who, struggling students, people who would benefit from this and stuff like that. Get a work grant program for them. This is where they're going to go to school. This is where they're going to learn. How hard is it to build a couple buildings to do a little classroom time? You're going to learn best with your hands by doing, okay? This is where these kids are going to learn the best at. This is where you're going to get the most experiences with the hands-on learning. So now you've got a work grant program. You've got the labor. Prisoners, they're earning their keep. They're earning their stay in prison while they're paying back their debt to society. And in the process, guess what they're doing? They're learning new skills. And guess what you do with all that food that you grow and you produce down there? You do a food-to-school or farm-to-school program. You help supply the schools with food. You help supply the needy families with food. You help supply the food pantries with food grown right here in the state of West Virginia in a regenerative agriculture practice that the state flagship university is involved in, that the prisoners are working in, that the students are benefiting from because they're working and learning at the same time. And guess who profits from it? Everybody. You've got the state now endorsing, backing, and producing food. Now that doesn't mean I want to make you dependent on the state. I want to see the state actually doing something for the people. For once, doing something that benefits the people, especially the needy people of this state. In all states. There shouldn't be a state out there right now where there's not a governor going, you know what? Here's what we need to do. We need to get away from this centralized global food market. We need to start producing as much as we can here. Let's get some tax incentives. Let's get some grants out there. Let's do this. Let's do that. Get the Department of Agriculture involved. Get the state universities involved. Get private entities involved. Everything comes from the states or the region. So you help feed the local economy with, improve the local economy. You help get people trained, get people educated. You help get prisoners rehabilitated, the ones who can be rehabilitated, who are on good behavior, nonviolent offenders, and you teach them new skills. This is not difficult, but we want to build a solar farm. We want to build a solar farm. Let's fix the food problem. Let's fix the poverty rate that we have in this state. There are so many things that could be done and so many ways we could fix this. And this is just a small bit of what we can do for ourselves in our own yards, in our own neighborhood, in our own little communities. Here's the seed. Talk to people in your area. Talk to people in your community who may have the property and the land to do it. Work out a deal with them. Help each other. Keep your food local. Get it safely. Get it secured. And quit depending on the big grocery, and stop, feeding into big grocery, big corporate, big business, big chemical ag, all of that stuff. If we start removing them from the equation, we're doing everything to improve our food security, to improve our food availability, to improve our food health, and improve our food safety. In the meantime, we're helping our communities, we're helping each other, and we're making use of the land that God has blessed us with, instead of selling it out to foreign interests and dumping foreign-made chemicals all over it. That's my message today. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. When I read that news article today, I wanted to get in my car and I wanted to go to Charleston. I'm like, what are you thinking? What is it with you people when you're elected to office that as soon as you walk through the doors of that dome, that capitol, that whatever, your daggone brains and common sense come out your behind and stay outside? You are not fixing problems. You are not resolving problems. You're putting band-aids on bleeders. You're not doing anything to address the problems. You're doing more to appease your party base, and you're just not thinking. Folks, we got to get this. We got to do something. And we're going to have to do it for ourselves. We cannot depend on the government to do this. You can no longer depend on the government to do this. I've said in previous videos, I'm going to say again, you need to prepare like nobody's coming to help you, because they're not coming. They are not coming. The most dangerous word you'll ever hear is from what Ronald Reagan said, is I'm from the government and I'm here to help. We all should know way better than that by now. So that's it. I'm off my soapbox. Think about that. Think about everything I just said about approaching your neighbors, about working with your community, talking to people in your community. There's the seed. Make it grow. Let's work together and starve the system. Thank you guys for the growth of the channel. We're well over 200 subscribers now. I'm over 3.5 thousand views on one video, 1.8 thousand on another. I love to see it growing. I love to see it growing, because you know what? This is how we beat the system. This is how we beat them back. We take their power and their control over us, and we take ownership of it. They cannot control those of us who do not depend on them. Take care. God bless, and keep prepping.